The biggest battle is not against others, it's against the old version of yourself. Growth happens when you stop comparing and start improving. Too many people waste their energy trying to measure up to someone else's success, constantly looking at what others are doing, what they have achieved, and where they are in life. This creates a never-ending cycle of self-doubt, frustration, and unnecessary pressure. The truth is, the only person you need to compete with is the one staring back at you in the mirror. Every single day, your goal should be to become a little better than you were yesterday. When you wake up in the morning, ask yourself, how can I improve today? It doesn't have to be something massive or overwhelming. Small, consistent changes lead to the biggest transformations over time. Maybe it's reading for 10 minutes. Maybe it's exercising for an extra 5 minutes. Maybe it's learning a new skill or pushing yourself to be more disciplined in your habits. Whatever it is, the focus should always be on your progress, not someone else's. Because the moment you start measuring your success based on what others are doing, you give away your power. Comparison is one of the biggest thieves of joy. It can make you feel like you're not doing enough, like you're not good enough, and like your progress is insignificant. But what most people fail to realize is that everyone is on a different path, a different journey. The person you are comparing yourself to might have started 5 years earlier than you. They might have had different opportunities, different struggles, different resources. You're looking at their highlight reel while ignoring your own behind-the-scenes work. The only person you should be measuring yourself against is the version of you from yesterday. Because if you're constantly improving, even by just 1% every day, you are on the right path. Think about the concept of a runner in a race. If they keep looking left and right, watching their competitors, what happens? They slow down. They lose focus. They trip and fall. But the best runners, the champions, keep their eyes straight ahead. They focus on their own stride, their own breathing, their own speed. They understand that the second they start worrying about someone else's race, they lose control of their own. The same applies to life. Every time you compare your journey to someone else's, you lose focus on what really matters, your own progress. Instead of competing with others, compete with yourself. Track your growth. Reflect on how far you've come. Celebrate your small wins, because they add up. Did you wake up earlier today than yesterday? That's progress. Did you push yourself to work harder, to learn something new, to take care of yourself? That's progress. It might not always feel like it, but those small daily improvements are what separate the average from the extraordinary. One of the biggest reasons people struggle with self-improvement is because they are too busy watching other people's success. They get caught up in someone else's achievements and forget that their own journey matters just as much. But what if instead of looking at others with jealousy or frustration, you use them as motivation? What if instead of thinking, why them, you started thinking, if they can do it, I can too? Because the truth is, success leaves clues. Instead of resenting someone for being ahead, study them, learn from them, take notes. But never compare yourself to them. The only competition is who you were yesterday. Most people underestimate how powerful consistency is. They think success happens overnight, but in reality, it's about small daily efforts that compound over time. Imagine two people. One spends their time worrying about what others are doing, constantly feeling inadequate, always second-guessing themselves. And the other, they wake up every day with a clear goal, be better than yesterday. They focus on their work, their mindset, their habits. They don't care if someone else is ahead because they understand that their only real competition is themselves. Fast forward 5 years, who do you think will be more successful? Life is not a competition with others, it's a marathon where the only person you're running against is your past self. The goal is not to be better than someone else. The goal is to keep evolving, to keep pushing forward, to keep breaking your own limits. Because when you do that, success becomes inevitable. Whatever you focus on expands. If you constantly think about what you lack, what you fear, or what you haven't achieved, those thoughts will dominate your mind and shape your reality. Your energy is like a magnifying glass, intensifying whatever you direct it toward. When you give your attention to distraction, negativity, or other people's lives instead of your own progress, you drain yourself of the power needed to change your situation. Most people don't realize how much control they actually have over their own mindset, their emotions, and ultimately their future. The problem is not their ability or potential, it's their focus. When you wake up in the morning, what's the first thing on your mind? Are you immediately thinking about what went wrong yesterday? Are you scrolling through social media, comparing your life to someone else's? Are you dwelling on things you cannot change? If your thoughts are centered on everything that is going wrong, then that is what you will continue to experience. Your mind is a powerful tool, and it responds to the instruments you give it. If you constantly feed it negativity, it will manifest in your reality. If you focus on excuses, you will find reasons to stay where you are. If you concentrate on obstacles, they will appear bigger than they actually are. But if you direct your attention toward progress, solutions, and growth, you will start to notice opportunities you never saw before. Most people fail to reach their full potential, not because they lack talent or intelligence, but because they focus on the wrong thing. Instead of thinking about how they can improve, they focus on why things are difficult. Instead of looking for ways to succeed, they concentrate on what could go wrong. Instead of appreciating how far they have come, they obsess over how far they still have to go. This type of thinking keeps them stuck, frustrated, and overwhelmed. But when you shift your focus, everything changes. Imagine walking into a dark room and fumbling around, feeling lost. The second you flip the light switch, the entire room is illuminated, and suddenly you can see everything clearly. That's what happens when you change your focus. You start seeing possibilities instead of roadblocks. You start recognizing the power you have instead of feeling like a victim of your circumstances. Energy is not limitless. Every day you have a set amount of mental, emotional, and physical energy. But you choose to direct that energy will determine the quality of your life. If you waste it on worrying, complaining, or watching others succeed while you stand still, you will feel drained and unfulfilled. But if you invest that same energy into personal growth, discipline, and productivity, you will feel empowered and unstoppable. Successful people understand this concept. They don't spend their time focusing on what they can't control. They focus on their craft, their vision, and their purpose. They are not distracted by what someone else is doing because they know that attention is currency, and they choose to spend it wisely. Think about the last time you let a small problem ruin your entire day. Maybe someone said something negative about you, and instead of letting it go, you replayed it in your mind over and over again. Maybe you made a mistake at work, and instead of moving forward, you let it consume your thoughts. In those moments, your focus was in the wrong place. You fed the negativity, and in return, it grew stronger. But what if instead you had shifted your attention to a solution? What if you had redirected your energy towards something productive? You would have realized that most problems are only as big as you make them. Your focus determines your reality. If you constantly focus on the worst case scenario, you will live in fear. If you dwell on failure, you will hesitate to take action. But if you train your mind to focus on opportunities, growth, and progress, your life will begin to reflect that mindset. You cannot control everything that happens to you, but you can control how you react and where you direct your attention. The most successful people in the world are not necessarily the smartest or the luckiest. They are simply the ones who have mastered the ability to control their focus. They know that distractions will always exist, but they refuse to give them power. They understand that every second spent worrying about someone else's life is a second taken away from their own growth. They are intentional about what they give their energy to because they know that whatever they focus on will multiply. Instead of envying others, let their success prove what's possible. Learn, adapt, and apply that energy to your own journey. Jealousy is one of the most common and misunderstood emotions, and for many people, it becomes a destructive force that holds them back rather than propelling them forward. When you see someone else winning, achieving their goals, living the life you desire, it's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, why not me? You start comparing your journey to theirs, measuring your progress against their success, and before you know it, you feel inadequate, frustrated, and stuck. But jealousy, if used correctly, can be one of the most powerful motivators in your life. Instead of seeing someone else's success as a threat, you can choose to see it as proof that your dreams are possible. Most people look at successful individuals and assume they had advantages, luck, or opportunities that they didn't. This mindset leads to resentment and self-pity, two of the most toxic emotions that will keep you stagnant. The truth is, every successful person started somewhere. They faced obstacles, failures, and setbacks, just like everyone else. The difference is that instead of letting other people's success make them feel small, they used it as fuel. They studied successful people, learned from them, and applied that knowledge to their own journey. They didn't waste time being envious because they understood that every second spent in jealousy is a second not spent on their own growth. When you see someone succeeding in an area of life where you want to succeed, your reaction matters. You can either let it discourage you or let it inspire you. The problem is that most people react the wrong way. They get bitter. They convince themselves that the other person had an unfair advantage. They start making excuses. They had connections. They had more resources. They were lucky. This type of thinking is dangerous because it shifts responsibility away from yourself. It creates a false narrative that says, I can't do what they did because I don't have what they had. And the moment you start believing that, you give up on your own potential. Instead of wasting energy on envy, use that energy to study success. If someone else achieves something great, ask yourself, how did they do it? What habits did they develop? What sacrifices did they make? What mindset did they adopt? When you approach success with curiosity rather than jealousy, you turn it into a learning opportunity. You start to see that success is not exclusive. It's available to anyone willing to put in the work. Another important thing to understand is that someone else's success does not take away from yours. Just because they are winning doesn't mean you are losing. Life is not a zero-sum game where one person's achievement means another person's failure. There is enough success, opportunity, and abundance for everyone. The problem is that too many people operate with a scarcity mindset. They see someone else thriving and assume that it makes their own chances smaller. But that's not how success works. If anything, someone else's success should give you confidence that you can achieve great things too. Think about how the world works. If one person breaks a record in sports, suddenly others start doing it too. Why? Because now they see that it's possible. Before Roger Bannister ran the first sub 4-minute mile, people thought it was impossible. But once he did it, others quickly followed. His success didn't take away from theirs. It paved the way. The same principle applies to every area of life. When you see someone build a successful business, it means that success in that field is possible. When you see someone transform their health, it proves that discipline and consistency work. Instead of thinking, why them? Start thinking, if they can do it, I can do it too. What separates those who use jealousy as motivation from those who let it destroy them is how they respond. Do they sit back and complain, or do they take action? Do they focus on excuses, or do they focus on learning? The key to success is not eliminating jealousy altogether, it's redirecting it. When you feel that emotion rise up, let it push you forward. Use it as a reminder that what you want is possible. Let it fuel your discipline, your focus, your work ethic. Instead of envying the results, study the process. Because once you understand that success is not about luck, but about strategy, effort, and mindset, you stop wasting time on jealousy and start making progress toward your own goals. Negative feelings are signals, not stop signs. Fear, doubt, and insecurity are signs that you're stepping outside your comfort zone. Lean in and use them as fuel. Too many people misunderstand their emotions, assuming that negative feelings mean they should stop, turn back, or reconsider their path. They feel fear and take it as a warning to avoid taking action. They feel doubt and assume it means they are not capable. They feel insecure and believe that they are not good enough. But what if these feelings were not meant to hold you back? What if they were actually guiding you forward? Fear is not your enemy. It is simply a sign that you are about to enter unknown territory, that you are stretching yourself beyond what is comfortable and familiar. Every major breakthrough in life comes with a moment of fear. The first time you try something new, the first time you take a risk, the first time you put yourself in a vulnerable position, fear will always be there. But fear is not meant to stop you. It is meant to sharpen you. It is meant to make you aware, focused, and prepared. The key is learning to move forward despite the fear, to understand that courage is not the absence of fear, but the decision to act in spite of it. Doubt is another emotion that holds people back, but only if they allow it to. Doubt is simply the mind questioning whether you are ready, whether you are capable, whether you have what it takes. And the truth is, you might not be ready yet. But doubt is not a reason to stop. It is a reason to prepare. It is a reason to sharpen your skills, to work harder, to push yourself further. Doubt can be a powerful motivator if you learn to interpret it correctly. Instead of seeing it as a reason to quit, see it as a reason to prove yourself wrong. Let it push you to prepare more, to train more, to commit more fully. Doubt is not a sign that you should stop. It is a sign that you are on the edge of something great, something challenging, something worth pursuing. Insecurity is another feeling that can either cripple you or drive you. Many people feel insecure because they compare themselves to others, thinking they are not talented enough, not smart enough, not capable enough. But insecurity is simply a sign that you care, that you want to do well, that you want to improve. The most successful people in the world still feel insecure at times, but they do not let it stop them. Instead, they use it as a reminder to keep growing, to keep learning, to keep pushing themselves beyond their current limits. Insecurity is not a weakness. It is a sign that you are reaching for something bigger than yourself. One of the most powerful things you can do is reframe the way you think about negative emotion. Instead of seeing them as obstacles, start seeing them as signals. Fear means you are growing. Doubt means you are challenging yourself. Insecurity means you are stepping into something meaningful. The key is learning to control these emotions rather than letting them control you. Most people allow their feelings to dictate their action. If they feel scared, they back down. If they feel doubtful, they hesitate. If they feel insecure, they give up. But the people who achieve greatness are the ones who push through despite how they feel. They acknowledge their fear, but take action anyway. They recognize their doubt, but keep moving forward. They feel insecure, but use it as fuel to get better. Emotions are temporary, but the results of your actions are permanent. If you allow fear, doubt, and insecurity to hold you back, you will stay stuck in the same place, never reaching your full potential. But if you learn to lean into those feelings, to use them as motivation instead of as barriers, you will discover a level of strength and resilience that you never knew you had. Every time you face fear and move forward, you grow stronger. Every time you overcome doubt, you build confidence. Every time you push through insecurity, you prove to yourself that you are capable. People often think that successful individuals have eliminated negative emotions, that they no longer feel fear, doubt, or insecurity. But the truth is, they feel all of those things just like everyone else. The difference is that they do not let those emotions stop them. They have trained themselves to act despite how they feel, to trust the process, to keep going even when their mind is trying to convince them to quit. This is the mindset that separates those who achieve greatness from those who remain stuck. It is not about avoiding negative feelings. It is about using them as a tool for growth. Success isn't about how you feel in the moment. It's about the habits you commit to daily. When you control your actions, your emotions follow. Most people let their emotions dictate their actions, and that's why they struggle to make consistent progress. They only work hard when they feel motivated. They only take action when they are inspired. They only show up when it's convenient. But the truth is, success has nothing to do with how you feel in the moment. It has everything to do with what you do consistently, regardless of your emotions. Discipline is the ability to take action even when you don't feel like it. It's waking up early to work on your goals even when you're tired. It's going to the gym even when you don't have the energy. It's studying, working, and grinding even when you would rather relax. Discipline means doing what needs to be done whether you feel like it or not. The problem is that most people rely on motivation, and motivation is unreliable. It comes and goes. Some days you wake up feeling ready to conquer the world. Other days you feel like doing nothing. If you only take action on the days you feel motivated, you will never build real momentum. That's why discipline is more important than motivation, because discipline is consistent while motivation is temporary. Think about the most successful people in the world. Athletes, entrepreneurs, artists, leaders. They don't wait until they feel like working. They work every single day, no matter what. A professional athlete doesn't train only when they feel inspired. A musician doesn't practice only when they feel creative. A business owner doesn't build their company only when they feel excited. They do it daily because they understand that results come from repetition, not from random bursts of energy. Most people make the mistake of believing that their emotions must be in alignment before they can take action. They tell themselves, I'll start when I feel ready. But the truth is, you will never feel ready. If you wait until you feel like doing the work, you'll be waiting forever. The only way to make progress is to take action first and let your emotions catch up later. The action creates the motivation, not the other way around. This is why habits are so powerful. When something becomes a habit, you no longer rely on emotions to get it done. You just do it. Brushing your teeth, taking a shower, eating meals. These are things you do daily without thinking about them. You don't need motivation to brush your teeth because it has become a habit. Imagine if working on your goals, staying disciplined, and putting in the effort became just as automatic. Imagine if success became a routine instead of something you did only when you felt like it. The secret to developing discipline is creating non-negotiable habits. Decide in advance what you will do and stick to it no matter what. If you commit to working out 3 times a week, that commitment doesn't change just because you're tired. If you commit to reading for 30 minutes every day, you don't skip it just because you're not in the mood. If you commit to building your business, you don't take days off just because you don't feel inspired. They show up no matter what. There will always be days when you don't feel like putting in the work. Days when you feel exhausted, discouraged, or uninspired. But those are the most important days to push through. Why? Because every time you take action, despite not feeling like it, you train your mind to be stronger than your emotions. You prove to yourself that your feelings do not control you. You control your feelings. And the more you do this, the easier it becomes. Eventually, discipline takes over and success becomes automatic. One of the biggest myths about success is that it requires constant motivation. People think that successful individuals wake up every day feeling driven and excited, but the reality is they don't. They feel the same emotions as everyone else: laziness, doubt, fear, frustration. The difference is that they don't let those emotions dictate their actions. They stick to the process. They follow their plan. They execute. Whether they feel like it or not, that's what separates winners from everyone else. Another reason why discipline is more important than motivation is because life will always challenge you. There will be obstacles. There will be setbacks. There will be moments when everything feels like it's working against you. If you rely on motivation, you will quit the moment things get difficult. But if you have discipline, you will keep going no matter what. You will push through the hard days. You will stay consistent even when life tests you. And that consistency is what leads to success. It all comes down to this: your emotions are temporary, but your habits create your future. The actions you take every single day, regardless of how you feel, will determine where you end up in life. Winners don't make excuses. They don't wait until they feel like it. They don't let their emotions control their action. They show up, they do the work, and they stay disciplined because they understand that success is not about feeling, it's about commitment.